the new rhinestone feature that's available in Scan and Cut Canvas if you buy the rhinestone kit. Now, if you're not sure what I'm talking about and you live in the UK, the only place we can buy any products relating to the Scan and Cut machine are from Create and Craft. And there's a link to the website where you can have a look at the products and accessories that are available, and that link's on my blog, and I'll put the details in the comments below. If you live in other parts of the world, I believe that you can buy your accessories and machine in various craft stores and through brother dealers, so no doubt you'll already have seen this new rhinestone kit, because I believe you've had it longer than we've had it available here. So when you get your rhinestone kit, it comes in a nice big box. You get some template sheets, you get some transfer sheets, which are a bit like the kind of thing you use if we do cutting vinyl. You get some packets of rhinestones, a little furry brush to rub the stones around and hopefully let them fall into the template. And inside the box you also get a little card about the size of a store or credit card, and on the back of it there is a number. I think it's an 11-digit number, but just above that there's a silver strip which you have to rub off with a coin, and underneath it reveals a 16-digit number, and that's the number that you need to activate the rhinestone feature within Canvas. Now, I've already activated mine, and you can see that by the little rhinestone up here, and when you hover over it, it does normally say rhinestones activated, and then also 2 extra icons up here, and then down here you get a section for rhinestones. But basically what you do to activate, you come to Canvas, start a new blank project like this, and you come up here where your name is and click on it, like that. And that brings up another box, and down at the bottom it says something like extra functions, and you'll see rhinestones and you'll see the word next to it, activate. You click on the activate, and then you'll see the boxes where you put in the 16-digit code that's on the back of your card. Okay, and then once you type those numbers in, you click activate, and this is the back of the card, and this is what I'm talking about. There's a number here, but when you get your card, this section here that's highlighted in red will be grey, and that's the bit you've got to scrape off to reveal the numbers underneath. You type the numbers in there and click activate. You come back to your Canvas page and you will see the rhinestone box here. You'll see the 2 new icons, and you'll see the little pink rhinestone at the top, which means that the rhinestone function can be used within this account. So what we'll do, first of all, we'll just start by looking at the rhinestone designs that come with the kit. So when you click on this, you've got a full alphabet in upper and lowercase and numbers. And then you've got some designs pre-installed: butterflies, crowns, flourishes, flowers, hearts, some words and bows. One thing that I would say while I remember, all these designs here, including the alphabet, excuse me, that are provided within this kit are not resizable. So if I just click on this and wait for it to be installed, and I'll zoom in so you can see. Now when you click on this and select it, the only handle you get is the rotating handle. So you can rotate these, but you can't resize them. It tells you the size down here, but you can't actually alter the size. You can ungroup them should you wish to, because if there was something you didn't want. So for example, if you didn't want this circle in the middle, while this is selected, you can right click and ungroup, and then you can pick that one there and hit delete on your keyboard. So you can ungroup them, and then you can select them all and right click and group them again, but you can't resize them. And then if you come to the view and then show rhinestone count, it will show you what size rhinestone has been used for that design and how many stones you'll need. Not that I think you're going to sit and count 67 stones out really, are you? But, you know, hey ho, it tells you how many you need. And that goes for the alphabet as well. So if we bring in a letter, and I'll just zoom in. So you'll see the letters there. Again, you can see you've got the rotate handle, but no resize handle. And again, while that's selected, if you go to view, show rhinestone count, you can see that again, it's SS10 and 93 stones would be required. But you can make your own designs. So if we get rid of those, now what I'm going to do, I prefer when I'm working with rhinestones, I prefer to work in millimeters. So I'm going to go to view, down to units, and I'm going to change it to millimeters just for doing this video. And just try and get the map back on screen. There you go. So we can use our own designs, we can use our own text. So if we go to the text tool, and I'll choose this font, and if I just type the word smile and then click somewhere to deselect it, obviously because this is normal text, a normal cutting file if you like, or drawing file, we've got all the handles. So not only can we move it around, but we can resize it, do what we want with it. But we can also use it as a rhinestone cutting file. But what I would say is try and get into the habit of making your file, before you do anything, the size that you want it to be. So if I wanted this to be a specific size, I would size it now. But just for the exercise of this video, I'm just going to leave it as it is. So there's my word. I'm going to come up here to the rhinestone icon, and you'll see you've got 5 pattern options. And then you've also got the 4 rhinestone sizes here that are available in this kit at the moment. I don't think you get all 4 sizes, but these are the sizes that you can use within this kit at the moment. So if we leave it on SS10 for now, because that's, I think, probably a fairly standard size. And if I just want the outline of my word, I would click on this first box. I'm not going to do anything with the spacing at the moment. That's the default spacing, 1 millimeter apart. We'll come back to that in a few minutes, and say OK. Now that design that it's given me doesn't actually look too bad. But what I'm going to do while it's selected, I'm going to fill it with colour, because I think sometimes when you're working with these rhinestone designs, they do look better if you colour them in. So I'm just going to choose a pink colour for now. Okay, and that's my word. Now, these designs that you do yourself or that you convert from a cutting file, you can resize. So while I've got this like this, I'm just going to come up to View, Show Rhinestone Count. You'll see that I chose SS10, which is right, and it's saying 219 stones. Now, if I hold my Shift key down and size this out, so to keep it in proportion, and wait for the software to recalculate, you'll see what it looks like now. Now I've stretched it out. But if I come back up here and go back to Show Rhinestone Count, you can now see that using that same size stone, I'd need 344. So these can actually be resized. It's just the pre-installed ones in the software that you can't. Now, you can also add additional rhinestones in. You can move some of the rhinestones about if you're not happy with how your design looks, and you can delete rhinestones. Apart from the first one, adding rhinestones in, the other options, so to move or delete, you have to ungroup. But once you ungroup your design, you can then regroup it, but you cannot resize it. So this is why I said at the beginning, it's a good idea to make sure you set the size of your design before you start. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to take a duplicate of that and move the duplicate just down here out of the way. So this is my design. So at the moment, I can do what I want with this. I can stretch it around and move it any which way I like, or I can hold the shift key down and move it in proportion. Okay. And that's all still a group. So before we do anything with this one, I just want to show you a few things on this one. So say I decide I don't like the look of this here. I want this section here to be more all in line. I can right click and hit ungroup. And then I'm going to go to the properties box. Oh, sorry, I'm going to have to regroup that again. Sorry. So I'm going to group, come up here, take the fill out, then right click and ungroup. And then if I just try and zoom in on this section here, that's gone too big now. There you go. You can see here that it's a bit odd. That's how the font was, but you know, you may want these in a straight line. So I can click on that and I can move it. Then I can click on this one and hit delete on my keyboard. And then if I'm happy with that, I can select it all again, right click and group it. And then I can cut it. Okay. But you'll see that I haven't got the other circles now around the edge. So I can't resize this now. I can rotate it, but I can't resize it. So if you need to take a design apart for any reason, you need to make sure that you resize it before you do anything at all. Let's just say I want to put another stone in here. This is still a group. I can resize this as I wish at the moment, but let's just say this is fine. This is how I want to cut it, but I'd like another stone put in maybe at the end of the S there and there. With this design selected, if I come up to this icon and select it, I can now come down here and click once and it puts a rhinestone in, and I can click once there and it puts a rhinestone in. And it knows to put the right size rhinestone because of the design that I've got selected. And then you click your select icon to deselect. And then you can click on this and you can use the arrows on your keyboard and move it into position. And the same with that one. Now, you might want to make a statement rhinestone somewhere in your design. So let's just say we select this one we've added and this one. Come up here to your properties box. It's an SS10 that's been put in because that's what the rest of the design was. So if I click on this and let's just make it an SS20 just for the sake of it, you can see it's now made it bigger. And I click on that one and I can come back up here and I want another SS20 there and close the box, and you can see it's put the bigger rhinestone there for me. And then I can select everything, right click and group. And then I can give it a name up here and save it and download it and go and cut it. So just to recap, all the designs that are already pre-installed within here, you cannot resize at all. You just have to use them as they are. You can ungroup them and delete parts of them, and you can rotate them, but you can't resize them. You can create your own rhinestone files from any of the shapes within here. And again, you can group and ungroup them, but you can resize them if they're designs you're creating. But once you ungroup a design, you cannot resize it. So you have to size it first. So let's just get rid of those and we'll come into the basic shapes and we'll choose a scallop and we'll just bring it down a bit. Then we'll go to the rhinestones and then we'll leave it on SS10 for a minute and we'll use the first option again and we'll say OK, and that's given us our design. I'm going to fill it in with colour just so you can see how it looks. OK, it's not too great, that one, because it's only small. I'm going to drag it out and see if it gets, there you go, it's got more definition now because it's bigger. So you will have to play around with this rhinestone feature because you might not always get the result you're expecting depending on the size that you started. So if it's your own design, make your size, try your rhinestone feature. If it doesn't look right, make it a bit bigger and see how it looks. Now I'm going to choose that same design and I'm going to choose another option. Now, as I said at the beginning, you've got 5 options here. The first one is just the outline. The second option will fill your design in using what's called a lattice design, but basically it just means it will put your stones in rows vertically and horizontally. Your next option is a contour fill, which will literally fill in following the contour of your shape. The next option is a circular fill and it starts with the circle in the middle, and you can determine how many stones start that middle circle and then it will fill in the rest going round and round and round until it reaches the outer edges of your design. And then the last one is just, it'll fit the stones in to your shape any which way it can. So if we go to the lattice design and we'll stick with SS10. Now on here you have more options and you can play around with these yourself. The default spacing for your vertical and horizontal lines is 1.0 milli on both, but you can again change those. You can change the angle of how they look by degrees and the slant. But for now, if we leave it on the default and say OK, because hopefully you'll get more of an idea of what I'm talking about. I'm going to fill this in with a different colour and you can see. So that's the vertical and horizontal lines, which doesn't look that great, quite frankly, does it? So if we go to the next one and we'll try this one and we'll say OK. And again, I'll fill it in just so you can see the colour better on screen. Then we'll go back to the same design, choose the next one. And then we'll go back and get the same design again and we'll do the last one. Which, as you can see, is the any which way it can. And quite frankly looks a little bit of a mess. Now, you could probably get other results depending on how you play around with the spacing. So if I select this one, go back here, it knows it was this one I chose. If I move the spacing up to say 1.6 on the horizontal and vertical and click OK and see what happens, it's still not that great. So you do have to play around. We'll take it up to 2.2 and see if that makes any difference. No, it's not on that one, you see. We could try resizing it and see if that does anything. That's getting a bit more of the shaping in. So you do have to play around with this rhinestone feature. What I would say is, if you come up here to help, you will find that the help PDF manual is here. It's about 8 pages. It's worth downloading it and reading it, or print it off and keep it, whichever you feel, because basically it does explain what these features are all about in more depth. But you do need to play about with the software, you know, to get the result that you want. But as I said, you know, you can make rhinestones from any design. So if I go back to my project library, and find a project, I will choose this one. This was a felt applique I cut recently and put on a cushion, which you may or may not have seen. It's on my blog. Okay, so if I'm going to leave it at the size it is for now, because I'm not going to cut this. And then we go to the rhinestone feature. We'll choose outline. It's a bigger design, so I'll choose a bigger stone on this one and say OK, just to see how it looks. And there's my design. So, you know, you can create SVG files in Inkscape, bring them into here, convert them to scan and cut files, and then you can turn them into rhinestones. You can convert any of your existing files that you've brought into Canvas. You can use any of the shapes that are in here. Let's just have a look at the logos and see how they will look at a door. Go to rhinestones. We'll leave it on SS16 for now, just to see how it looks. Doesn't look that great on that, so we'll take it down to SS10. Say OK. Just move him out of the way. Bring this one in. I'll fill it with colour, because I find they look better if you fill them with colour. So there, it's not, you're losing some of the definition. Might look better if we made it smaller. Let's try the smallest stone, see how we look on that size. See, that looks better, doesn't it? Looks a lot better. So you do have to play around with it, as I say. Let's try borders while we're here. Choose the heart border. Rhinestones. We'll leave it on SS6. We'll say OK. And there we have it, a nice rhinestone border. We'll make it red so it stands out a bit better on the video. There you go. So it can be done. Obviously, you can also cut these out of card. I've just been playing around with it this morning and used one of the designs that's in my library here and just cut it out of paper just to see what it looked like. And they look great, just cut out in paper or card. So you don't have to use them for rhinestones. You could cut them in vinyl and use a design with all the little holes in vinyl, which could look quite nice. Or, like I say, cut them in card, put a piece of coloured paper behind them, cut them in card or paper, fill the holes in yourself with glitter glue, anything. I've had a rhinestone kit before with a previous cutting machine, and to be honest with you, I wasn't going to buy this because I've still got the kit and I don't really use it that often. I know I've shown you in a previous video that you can make rhinestone designs in Inkscape, but in Inkscape you tend to only be able to make the outline like this. You don't really, it's not, you can fill them in, but it's not easy to do. But you know, if I decided that I wanted to fill these in, all as I need to do is select this design in this software. We'll try this one and see how it looks. and you know, just fill it in. Look at that, perfect, you know, in the matter of a click of a button. So I gave in and I bought the kit, and I actually think that I might use it. I'm not saying I'm going to use it all the time, but I think it's worth having. So I hope you found that helpful. What I'm going to do, I'll just create a little design, and I'm going to do a part 2 and show you how to cut it using the actual rhinestone kit from the Scan and Cut, for the Scan and Cut canvas.